It's often said that you shouldn't be using IBIS while shooting on a gimbal. For me, it kind of doesn't make sense, and I wanted to see how it works. So I took my R6 Mark III and Ronin gimbal and went out shooting. You can see mode I'm in the bottom of the screen. For each scenery I was walking, there are 6 settings combinations, because you can have IBIS enabled, disabled, and you can have 3 electronic stabilization modes as well. So that gives 6 options. So for all this test I used 180-degree shutter angle and 50mm lens. Technically speaking, it's 15 to 35 RF lens, so both lens and body have stabilization enabled. And now with IBIS enabled. If you look at the horizon line, you can see that whole picture behaves a little bit smoother than without IBIS. Difference is not great, but it's there, it's visible in my opinion. And also I don't see too much or anything wobbly in the corners. Adding electronic stabilization on top of that doesn't improve much. I believe that it's best to be set to off when using gimbal. Okay, here are some panning shots, and here you should be able actually to see some wobble when we turn off in-body stabilization. Right now it's just electronic and IBIS off, so no wobble possible. Okay, now look at the very end of the movement, when the gimbal stops. There is some wobbly jello effect. It's not very pronounced, but it's there. And when I've seen that, coming back home and reviewing the footage, I decided to do some more tests that are at the end of this video. Because I thought that, okay, maybe when you walk smoothly and slowly, then there are no problems, but maybe if you do some crazy movements, then you will get more wobble. It's not very pronounced, it's not something that probably everyone would understand and see, but it's there. And here's some video of walking around and orbiting around the building that it's World War II museum in my city. It's kind of interesting shape, so I picked that, and there is a lot of space around. And here, especially for electronic stabilization, you will be able to see some tiny motion blur artifacts. If you look at place where these tiles or bricks connect, it's quite visible there. Not extremely visible, but a little bit you can see. And you can see some jerkiness at the style connections. Not much, but it's there. And now IBIS version. And here again, if you see that at very big monitor, you may be able to see some motion blur artifacts. That happens when electronic stabilization is stabilizing the picture using gyro data, but picture is shaky, so there is motion blur and there is no way to fix that. So we get exactly the same effect when we are using GoPro in the dark. And GoPro needs to lower the shutter speed to get more light, and it cannot then fix the motion blur that it gets from shakes. It's not very pronounced here, I think it's okay, but it's there. Now some other shot. So electronic stabilization can, especially enhanced, can create some weird behaviors in my opinion. It's not very pronounced as we are on gimbal, but it can be there. So sometimes I prefer to have some more motion in the footage rather than having this weird behavior. Here enhanced, in my opinion, makes things worse rather than better. So some more walking shots. So as I said, when I've seen this little wobbly effect at the end of panning test, I decided to go another day in the same place and do some more tests. So here they are. So I took gimbal, put it on FPV mode and started waving it like crazy, hoping to see something. Oh, this is now IBIS off version, so we will not see any wobble, but in the next picture you may or may not. So in my opinion, this version with IBIS is okay as well. So I decided to do some more crazy shots, and here you actually can see some wobble in IBIS version. Here. So summary, IBIS on gimbal probably will not wobble, as gimbal creates much more smoother environment for IBIS to work, and you are unlikely to see wobble artifacts, even on 50mm. IBIS can smooth movements, as this is adding additional smoothing on top of smoothing provided by gimbal, so it's good in most cases. I don't like electronic stabilization though, I think it creates some motion blur artifacts. So from now on I will probably use IBIS on, Probably turn it off while doing some slow-mo, as slow-mo can over-exaggerate some wobbliness artifacts. So anyway, that's all. I hope someone on the internet will find it useful. If so, please leave this thumb up. That's all, bye bye.